Okay, good afternoon. Going to go ahead and get our program started here. We want to try to adequately recognize all of the wonderful award winners that we have here today, but we will try to expedite this. We know folks need to get back to work, get back to school, and so we're going to try to be as expeditious as we can, but also try to recognize everybody as well as we can. I would ask everybody, if you haven't done so, if you could make sure your cell phones were off, that would be great, so we could get through this. We have some very wonderful remarks that we're going to hear from our award recipients today. We want to make sure everybody hears those. I want to thank a couple people before we start. One of those is our photographer today, Jeff Mays, who's here. Jeff is with us a lot and from time to time and shoots some wonderful photography. And also our videographer in the back, who you can hear each morning on ESPN Radio here locally, Mitchell Bradley. Let's give these guys a round of applause for helping us today. Okay, before we start with the program, one thing I want to do. Those of you that were here last year know that I received a very special challenge last year, okay? And a very, very special friend of mine, a gentleman named Clarence Williams, who for many years was the sheriff in Chesterfield County, is retired now, is my sheriff in Chesterfield County. We had awarded or recognized Carol Williams, Clarence's wife, last year with the Spirit Award, and Carol, during her remarks, said that she was going to take the polar plunge for the first time. And so Clarence raised his hand, maybe some of you might remember, and asked if he could approach the dais and say a few words. Now, look, when all due respect to my law enforcement friends here today, when a law enforcement guy raises his hand and says, "Do you mind if I speak?" I'm like, "Well, come on, you know, I'm not going to stop you from doing anything." So Clarence came up and said, in essence, Rick Jeffrey is a big weenie and has never plunged before. And so if he plunges in the 2014 polar plunge, I am going to personally contribute $1,000 to that effort. Now, I did plunge. There are witnesses in this room that saw me plunge. I actually plunged twice. And the second time I went back, I had to go up to Ron Miller. He's not here today, but he's one of our great law enforcement volunteers from up in Fairfax, retired from Fairfax Police Department. He's one of the divers in the water. And the water was very rough on that day, and you couldn't go out real far. So it was hard to get all the way under. And that was Clarence's requirement. You have to go all the way under the water. So the two police officers, Ron Miller and the other guy, dunked me back. It was almost like a baptism. In the 38-degree water and 38-degree temperature. So, Clarence, you got to come up here now and present me with my $1,000 check, all right?
Rick, you didn't tell him how much you raised.
Yeah, I did. I actually, to not be outdone by Clarence, I actually raised $3,000 in addition to the $1,000 he put up. So it was.
Well, as you know, last year, I challenged Rick. But 6 days after the challenge, I had a little bit of heart problem. I had a heart attack. This is why I didn't plunge this year, because the doctor said it'd be too much of a shock for me. But he turned right around and said, "You can do it twice next year." I asked him who his psychiatrist was, but he didn't say. Evidently the same one you go to, Rick. The problem is that I gave Carol the $1,000 check, and she had it in her suit when she went into the water. So, Rick, you can't read it now. But I went ahead and made another one. $1,000.
Thank you. While Clarence is here, we have a wonderful relationship with law enforcement. Law enforcement guys from all over the state raised money for us, raised $1 million rather in 2013. alone last year. Steve Flaherty from the State Police was the head of that. He's here today. I'd like all of our great law enforcement partners to stand up right now, and let's give them a round of applause, not only for what they do to protect us in our personal lives, but what they do by serving the community in Special Olympics. Law enforcement folks, will you stand up? Thank you, Clarence.
And Rick, just so you wasn't going to recognize me this year, I do have my gun.
Thank you. Thank you, Clarence. That was terrific. Thank you. That was great. We had great fun. Great fun at the Polar Plunge. A lot of you that were here plunged for the local programs. We'll recognize some of those folks here later. I want to start off this afternoon by thanking our folks from Virginia Farm Bureau for all you do for our athletes. Pat Kane was up here earlier, and Pat is a great friend of Special Olympics, added a wonderful Farm Bureau-sponsored clinic that we had with University of Richmond basketball recently. Each year we have an opportunity to recognize the best volunteers and athletes and sponsors and groups in this organization, and it really is a wonderful opportunity for Farm Bureau to help us build a bigger, better Special Olympics community. We're proud to have partners like Farm Bureau. It's wonderful to have partners that are organized just like we are. We have some here today like the Knights of Columbus, the law enforcement folks, our school volunteers, Farm Bureau, very, very grassroots-oriented group, organized just like we are, understand how it is to operate on the ground at the grassroots, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. They support us at our basketball regionals. They'll have Farm Bureau volunteers at many basketball regionals, at the VMI games and at other places around the state where they'll recognize the local volunteers. You see, Farm Bureau, one of the things they do is they donate money to provide 88 scholarships for athletes to attend summer games each year. That's 88 offices of Farm Bureau around the state of Virginia, one basically in every county. And you have a scholarship that represents each of those agencies. And so athletes from all over the states at the grassroots level are coming there on a Farm Bureau scholarship. Darlene Wells is the head of Virginia Farm Bureau. She's the executive vice president, general manager. Darlene's here today. Darlene, would you stand? Darlene's in the back. Don't be shy, Darlene. Let's give all of our Farm Bureau folks a nice round of applause. They also do a lot of volunteering. There's a big group of them comes out summer games every year. They own the softball skills competition, which is a skills competition in softball for lower skilled athletes that they do on the baseball field, the baseball stadium at University of Richmond. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. They also had a bunch of volunteers at the University of Richmond basketball clinic. So they're with us throughout the year. And so as we present the awards, I'm going to ask Pat Kane come back up and kind of be my assistant here as we go through the annual awards presentations. No one volunteer in Special Olympics has more influence over what happens in this program with regard to the athletes on the ground than the coaches. Special Olympic coaches not only influence the lives of their players, but they also help change the attitudes of the fans in the stands. Today we honor a volunteer who has been a coach in Area 2, which is the Virginia Beach or Southside Hampton Roads area. It includes Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Norfolk, and Virginia Beach. This specific coach is a Chesapeake coach. He's been a head coach for soccer, for golf, for basketball, for track and field. He's been an assistant coach for bowling, roller skating, and softball. James Farr also serves on the Area 2 Council and has served as a coordinator-elect for the past 4 years. He's been the co-coordinator of the Area 2 basketball tournament for the past 5 years, and he assists with Area 2 tournaments in golf and roller skating. James also participates at the captains the Area 2 or the Area 2 Chesapeake team in the Polar Plunge, where they raised more than $40,000 just a couple of weeks ago. Of Coach Farr, Cammie Linetti. Now, Cammie is one of our board members, but Cammie is also the area leader of the Southside Hampton Roads Group in Area 2. And Cammie says this about James Farr. James epitomizes what all good Special Olympic coaches strive to be. He's an outstanding example of a Special Olympic coach who has devoted his life to making sure that Special Olympic athletes have every opportunity to learn and compete in sports and experience the joys of life. Please join me in congratulating the 2013 Special Olympics Virginia Coach of the Year from Area 2 and Chesapeake, Virginia, Coach James Farr.
You know, I've been doing this for 10 years, and this is an honor and a privilege. But the real honor and privilege is the kids. They teach me more than I teach them. They got stamina. They don't know the word quit like most of the kids do nowadays. They don't know, I can't do this. You know, I'll give you a good example. I had a little girl come out from golf last season. 2 weeks before state games, she broke her arm. Had a cast from the hand up to here. Her mama said, Faith, you can't do this. You can't go to state games. She come to practice and she said, Coach, I want to play. My granddaddy's coming from Florida. I said, go get your gloves. We taught her how to golf one-handed because she couldn't move it. And lo and behold, she went to state games. She got a bronze medal. So, yeah. These kids don't know the word of all the stuff they go through in a day's time. You know, the parents, all parents are protected. I got a son that I'm protected of. You know, they're protected, and they say, my daughter can't do this, my son can't do this. 9 times out of 10, when they get started in Special Olympics in Virginia, the kids prove them wrong because they don't know the word quit. And to strive, and to be a coach, it's an honor and a privilege. Any of y'all come out, when we come, we'll come up here on March 21st to Stafford. Y'all just need to come and look at the expression on these kids' face. The Olympics is going on right now. If you look at the expression on these Olympians' face when they're competing, our kids had the same expression to achieve, to make that basket, to win that game. And it's not about the medals. It's just they get to do something that normal kids do without nobody correcting them, said, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's why I coach. Thank you.
You know, Clarence, you and I play a little golf. Maybe we'd be better one-handed if we try that. It might work. Yeah. Thank you, James. That's terrific. You know, you've enriched the lives of a lot of people, James, a lot of Chesapeake athletes, rather, and a lot of athletes down in that Area 2 program, so thank you. Now, Special Olympics Virginia program would not be successful without the constant and dedicated work of volunteers in each area program. This year's Area Volunteer of the Year Award is not being presented to an individual, but it's being presented to a group. It's very special because I've been in this program for over a quarter of a century, and this particular group that's being recognized has been involved for years and years and years. There were a lot of administrators and athletic directors and groups at this particular school. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. Norfolk Academy, students, faculty, and families have opened their facilities and their hearts to Area 2 Special Olympics program. They have hosted practices for local teams for nearly 20 years free of charge. They've been the host for the Area 2 Fall Games for the past 4 years. In January 2013, when a contract fell through at another facility for an event, Norfolk Academy opened its facilities on a Sunday to allow Area 2 to host its basketball tournament. The students have formed Special Olympics clubs that not only help win the tournaments, but also come out weekly to volunteer with Norfolk and Chesapeake teams. The students have also participated in the polar plunge, where they raised over $1,600 for Area 2. Here to accept the award on behalf of the student volunteers are some members of the faculty and also some students. Now look, we have a big emphasis in the organization on trying to recognize and trying to involve and engage as many young people in this program as we can, with and without intellectual disabilities. So it's not just a special ed student, it's not just a special Olympic athlete, it's kids in these schools. See, these kids from Norfolk Academy or these other schools that we work with, 20 years from now, they're the people sitting in this room. They're people that are corporate leaders, they're school educators, they're nonprofit executives. They're doing what we do. And so it's our responsibility to engage as many of them as we can now, and their teachers and faculty members. So here to accept the award is a teacher, Kathy Hobbs, a student and president of the Special Olympics Club, Sophia Woods, and a student and vice president of the Special Olympics Club, Ben Klebanoff from Norfolk Academy.
Thank you so much. 4 years ago, when I started volunteering with Special Olympics, I thought that I was going to be teaching athletes how to play tennis. But above and beyond that, they have taught me so much about who I am and compassion and love of just the pure fun of a sport. And it's just really changed my life more than I thought it could ever affect me. 2 years ago, I started Special Olympics Club at Norfolk Academy. We have 30 members in the club. We go out every weekend at NA to help coach with the several sports that they have. And I would specifically like to thank Mr. David Brunk. He is an NA graduate and was the original person who brought Special Olympics to NA, and he's really been a great person for Special Olympics and NA to bring them together. Thank you.
Kathy and Sophia and Ben, thank you for sharing those thoughts. They're really great. Norfolk Academy, as I said, there's a lot of schools that we could go through all the folks that are here from local programs. It'll be Charlottesville or Northern Virginia or folks in the Christiansburg, Blacksburg area. Y'all got schools up there, whether they're middle schools or high schools, or whether they're private schools or public schools, or whether they're universities. They're all involved. We do stuff virtually on every school campus, on every secondary school and campus in this state, and we really want to do more, so that's really fantastic. Moving to our next award, our Program Volunteer of the Year. Norfolk Academy was our local Program Volunteer of the Year. Our state-level Volunteer of the Year has been involved with Special Olympics for over 25 years. Bill Kennedy's been an important part of the organization that ran the Alpine Championships at Wintergreen for many years. I want to tell you a story about Bill that goes back to Alpine Championships in Wintergreen. This is how I remember Bill Kennedy. One year at Wintergreen, when we were having the ski championship up there, we had the good fortune of having the great Grammy award-winning musician Bruce Hornsby visit the Alpine Championships. Okay? It's fantastic. Everybody is incredibly excited about Bruce Hornsby coming. Bill Kennedy had no idea who Bruce Hornsby was, okay? And I'm saying, how do you live in the state of Virginia and not know who Bruce Hornsby is? And so we had this cardboard cutout of Bruce Hornsby, and we would put it at various places around the Wintergreen facility. We'd put it in the tree house, we'd put it on the slopes, we'd put it in the over in the what used to be called Robin's Roost in the restaurant area, and we'd say to Bill, Bruce Hornsby is over in the tree house, and Bill would go, then the cardboard cutout would be standing there. Bruce Hornsby did arrive. He spent a wonderful afternoon on the ski slopes with our athletes. As irony would have it, Bill never saw Bruce Hornsby, but rest assured, he spent a lot of time with the cardboard cutout and knows exactly to this day who Bruce Hornsby is. When the basketball championships relocated to Stafford County years ago, Bill was one of the first people to call us and say, at the time, as a principal in the Stafford County school system, called us and said, how can we help? How can my school get involved? How can we get involved with the school system? And they've been a wonderful partner ever since then. He's been asked to organize volunteers, distribute meals, athletes all over the basketball championships, all over Stafford County. He's kind of done all of the various logistical volunteer efforts that run on the basketball tournament. He retired several years ago from the Stafford County Public Schools. He went to work for the Stafford County Sheriff's Office. It's we have a nice little Stafford County Sheriff's Office contingent, including our great Sheriff Charlie Jett, who's a former board member here with us today. And Bill went to work for them as their chief spokesperson. And again, continued to be involved in Special Olympics, not only with the law enforcement community and law enforcement torch run, but also with the Special Star Force, a wonderful cadet force for intellectually disabled athletes that the Stafford County Sheriff's Office started. He's been involved with us the entire time. He's emceed our opening ceremony at Summer Games. He's been a wonderful, wonderful, passionate, motivated volunteer, probably one of the most positive people that I've ever encountered in being in this program for 25 years. Please help me to congratulate a great friend of Special Olympics, 2013 Program Volunteer of the Year from Mineral, Virginia, Mr. Bill Kennedy.
I do know who Bruce Hornsby is now. You know, when you volunteer for as many years, and it's over a quarter of a century, and that sounds old, you're able to do it because of a number of factors. I have a wife who very graciously takes on the job when our little girls were little of letting me go off for a weekend or during the week to volunteer while she stayed home with our little ones. When the girls got older, we brought the girls in, and they volunteered as well, and now my wife, I've sucked her in, and she volunteers with me each and every year. When I was in education, I had superintendents who allowed me to participate in Special Olympics and use school days. And they thought it was so important, they considered it to be professional leave, and it was granted without question because I knew how important Special Olympics of Virginia is. As Rick said, I got a segue into the Stafford County Sheriff's Office, and those of you who know Charlie Jett realize he kind of epitomizes what Special Olympics Virginia is all about. So it was a no-brainer when I came on board with him that I could continue what I was doing and do some even some additional items with Special Olympics. So I appreciate that, and I know where the support came from. You know, when you heard speakers speak of what I'm going to say here in a second, but and I'll be brief about it, but one vision sticks in my mind, and it's the Summer Games. And we have 1,200 athletes in the Robins Center, and we have parents and volunteers and coaches, and there's several thousand. And then you have the torch come in with several hundred law enforcement officers. And I got to tell you, if that doesn't move you, nothing will. Because in that room, it's just an amazing thing about Special Olympics Virginia and about volunteering. We get so much. There is so much positive energy. There is so much joy, motivation, and there's so much love. It's just an amazing opportunity anytime you have Special Olympics going on. And isn't it a shame the world couldn't be more like our Special Olympic athletes and what they bring to all of us. So I'm honored to have this award. Thank you so much, and looking forward to another 25 years.
Thank you, Bill. See, you said a great thing there. In essence, what Bill said is it's great. Special Olympics is great because it's the way the world should be. That's pretty much what you said, I think. It's good stuff. You know what that means? It means this. It means, you know, what we're trying to do up here at Special Olympics is trying to build communities that are more respectful in the way they conduct themselves, more inclusive in the way they're made up, more united in the way they're put together in their fabric. And so when Bill says, you know, it's great to volunteer at Special Olympics because you go into an environment where it's the way the world should be, it's really what we're trying to do. Really what we're trying to do. Thank you for saying that, Bill. That's great validation kind of for all of us here that work in this program. Special Olympics provides an important support network for many athletes. There's no more important support system, however, than one's family. Along with athletes, there are no greater heroes in our program than the family members who often take on many roles: coach, chaperone, chauffeur, mentor. It's a 24/7 job, never ends. Mom, dad, sister, brother, family member. At this time, what I'd really like to do is I'd like for everybody in the room who is a family member of a Special Olympic athlete to stand. Stand now where you are, please. And let's all the rest of us give these great heroes in our program a round of applause. Cheers Family of the Year hails from Barboursville, Virginia, up near Charlottesville in Area 3. Bill and Louise Hay have been on the Gene Arnold 10K Planning Board for 5 years. Gene Arnold, incidentally, is a wonderful, wonderful man. He was a great volunteer in the Charlottesville area. We passed away. We lost him probably 10 years ago. Yeah. And Gene was a wonderful, wonderful man. So everything they kind of do up there now, their 10K fundraiser, their actual council, is all kind of named for Gene. The Gene Arnold 10K, the Gene Arnold Planning Board. Bill and Louise have served on these groups for years. The Gene Arnold 10K is a very important fundraising awareness race in Charlottesville, named after Gene Arnold. Both Louise and Bill are on the Area 3 Council, which helps to run the local program in the Charlottesville area. Bill has coached basketball, soccer, golf, tennis, track and field, and downhill skiing. In addition to being on the council, Louise has coached track and field. Currently, Bill and Louise are Global Messenger mentors to their son, Richie. Their other son, Tim is not here today, is he? Tim's not here. We saw Tim recently up in Charlottesville at our tennis tournament, but Tim has been involved in basketball, soccer, track and field, volleyball, and bowling as both a coach and a volunteer, so it's a family affair here in Special Olympics. Other siblings, Dan, Billy, Martha, have all at some point volunteered in this program as well. Richie has been involved as an athlete in golf, soccer, volleyball, bowling, gymnastics, basketball, tennis, track and field, downhill skiing. He's currently a member of our Global Messenger Speaker Program. And here's what I'll tell you about Richie. This was great. You know, you get these athletes in the Global Messenger Program, and you saw Jerry here today, who's really a wonderful representative of our program. Jerry Holy, who spoke to you today, also works at Special Olympics International, the parent group up in Washington. And so these guys are getting around out in the community. But, you know, it's not easy to stand up in front of a group and speak. And for the first time, Richie had an opportunity to stand up at the tennis tournament called The Experience in Charlottesville in front of a wonderful crowd at the Boar's Head Sports Center and be one of the MCs on the opening ceremony up there. And the only thing I remember the whole time is the smile on Richie Hay's face, which you will see when he comes up. He's got one of the great smiles in Special Olympics. But he truly loved being at the microphone. He loved talking to people. He loved telling the stories. He loved emceeing the program. He's going to be a wonderful global messenger because in order to be a good global messenger, you have to really love it and want to do it. And we've got the best global messenger program in the country, largely because of David Thomason and Dave Pulowski. And because of that, wonderful people like Richie Hay in this program really come into this program and really light it up with their wonderful smiles. So please join me in congratulating our 2013 Special Olympics Family of the Year from Barboursville, Virginia, the Hay family. Richie, thank you. Bill, thank you.
Well, thank you, Rick. It truly is an honor to be up here in front of everyone. On behalf of Louise and Richie and our family, we just are so thankful to just being part of Special Olympics. I'd like to recognize Roseanne Gamma and another friend, Dave Zentmeyer, who isn't here today, as probably the people who nominated us, but truly working with individuals like that and having the fun that we have together in all our different athletic competitions and fundraising efforts is truly makes it a lot of fun. We are very blessed to have 5 healthy children, and Richie's older siblings played a lot of sports because we enjoy athletics, and growing up he followed them around to all their different athletic activities. Richie has autism and hyperactivity, and so we knew he couldn't participate in the normal athletic programs that were out there, and we sought out Special Olympics. At that time, Gene Arnold was the area coordinator, and he truly was a great mentor, and we learned a lot from him, his compassion, his enthusiasm, and the fact that he was such an advocate for individuals with disabilities. And that really caught us on fire, and the little bit that we put in, as the other speakers have said, we just gain every day working with individuals in Special Olympics. And what, the joy that you get from it is just amazing. So, as some of the other coaches and people have said, come out to any of the regional activities, come out to state games. You'll just be enriched by what you see and just the smiles and fun that these athletes have. It truly is a blessing. And I'd also like to thank Rick and his staff, because this state is very fortunate to have such a strong program in Special Olympics Virginia. The programs that are offered are run extremely well. It seems seamless, and Rick does a fantastic job and is on the go all the time. And Daniel, who's our also a coordinator, Daniel Leake, does a great job in our region, and we certainly enjoy it. So, again, thank you very much for this honor. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Richie. As they go back and sit down, I thank you, Bill, for your nice remarks. But the athletes that are in this room today, whether it be Richie or Matt Doyle, who's over here, or Erica, who we're going to recognize a little while later, some of the other athletes that are here, they don't live at our office. They know athletes at 3212 Skipworth Road. The athletes are in Charlottesville or Barboursville, or they're in Chesapeake, or they're in Virginia Beach, or they're in Stafford or Fredericksburg, or they're in Christiansburg and Blacksburg. They're at the local program level, which is where the program lives and breathes, which is where the families are, and that's where the work gets done. That's where the work is. We mostly have fun at our office. They're hard-working people at the local level. They really are. That's really where the program lives and breathes. As we go to these last two awards, it's great to present this next award to the guy I get to present it to. People have all kinds of experiences in their lives. Guy we're going to recognize here in a second, Rick Myers. This is watching the Olympics the last couple of weeks. This is the 20th anniversary of when Nancy Kerrigan was a speed skater and had the altercation with Tanya Harding and the kind of the beating on the knee and stuff. At that particular time, Rick Myers was the USOC medical chief for the U.S. Olympic team in Lillehammer, Norway, and did the examinations on Nancy Kerrigan and actually certified her to be okay to ski. That's pretty cool stuff. We saw this on the TV recently this week. And so, people that have experiences like this, it always is fantastic to me that they come in and say that I had these experiences at Olympic Committee or some of the other experiences that folks have had, but the real great experiences we've had are here at Special Olympics. So the Virginia Foster Winning Spirit Award is given to a volunteer, an athlete, sometimes a group, in Special Olympics who's made an impact on all different levels of the organization. The Virginia Foster was my predecessor as president, a wonderful lady, and the award was named after her after she retired. And it's given to a volunteer who has really gone above and beyond. Dr. Rick Myers has been involved as a volunteer board member, volunteer in the medical group, donor, currently the chairman of our board of directors for over 20 years. He volunteered as a medical volunteer and engaged his orthopedic group, Tuckahoe Orthopedics. Some of these Tuckahoe Orthopedic guys who have since retired, because Rick is kind of semi-retired over the last couple of years, but some of these orthopedic guys, they were some of the big-time people in sports medicine. And to have this group volunteering on our events because Rick came out and got him so engaged, and Dave Pulowski was working for him at the time, got him engaged. It was really, really wonderful to have this quality of medical services, not only at Summer Games, but also on the mountain at Wintergreen, to keep our athletes safe and take care of any injuries that we had along the way. I don't think Rick's as sad, though. He couldn't have known how, one weekend of coming to Summer Games for the first time could really change his life and make him a lifelong volunteer. He was hooked. He's come back year after year and provided medical coverage at events all around the state. Now, here's really kind of an interesting thing. You know, Rick served on this National Orthopedic Board, and they went through a big campaign where they had a lot of orthopedists all over the country that raised a lot of money and donated it to hospitals and places, medical facilities around the country. And he called me up one day and said, meet me over at this place. We had lunch, and he said, you know, we have a compelling case here. Stuff we do is really good. And we could probably create a stream of revenue that nobody in the country is really doing right now, which is just working individually with donors who have the capacity to give and getting some larger gifts that could create endowments, that could create scholarships, that could create a lot of funding for new programming. And because of that leadership, and because of his helping to connect Special Olympics with the community, because of his motivating other board members to become fundraisers, because of his motivating some of our donors, who we now consider to be really good friends of the organization, to also be fundraisers and engage other people in the giving. In that first year that we did the individual giving program with some tutoring from a wonderful gentleman who was a vice president for advancement at the University of Richmond for a number of years, Chris Withers, we increased the amount of money that we got from individuals 400% in the first year. And we thought, good gosh, you know, that was astounding to us. And we had some wonderful people, family members and community people here who really helped us with some wonderful gifts. And since that time, over the last 7 years, that revenue stream has created for us, since 2005, over $3.5 million in revenue. That's astounding. Okay, we're one of 2 programs in the country that does a program like this. And it's really wonderful because it's allowed us to create a financial structure that gives this organization stability. Do you know how hard it was in the nonprofit community in 2007 and 2008? It was tough. It was tough in your community. I mean, listen, it was tough in the law enforcement community too, with funding and cutbacks. It was tough in the corporate community. It was tough in the schools without raises for teachers. I understand that, but it was tough everywhere. But because of that revenue stream of individuals and because we have worked diligently to create a financial structure with help from board members like this, you know, we were able to really weather that storm and actually move forward. It's really, really wonderful. We have a lot of nonprofits all over the area that talk to us about this and how this has helped us. So this has allowed Special Olympics to generate revenue to support new programs like the Experience, the tennis tournament, which is a kind of a hybrid event up in Charlottesville, programs that relieve costs to local programs like the scholarship funds that we have. You know, when we have those athletes that go out to summer games, you know, 1,300 of them, probably over 700 to 800 of them are going on scholarship at no cost to the local programs because we're able to do programming like Rick helped us start. Or programs that have a life-changing effect, which is what Clarence Williams wanted his $1,000 to specifically go to the Healthy Athlete Endowment. For the first time at Summer Games next year, we're going to bring in athletes that are going to go just to the healthcare initiatives. They're going to go just to the dentist to get dental care, just to the eye care center to get a new pair of glasses because they're marginalized on their health care. So it's not only the funding. Rick Myers says, you know, he says if getting Special Olympics, athletes integrated in the community and helping to get their powerful message heard is what keeps coming me back. He says, but if financial support is important, but you're cheating yourself if you don't come out and meet these athletes and see the experiences they have. It's not about the money. It's about the magic. Nobody knows that better than Rick Myers. Sally is here today. Sally is nice enough to donate a lot of Rick's time to us. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's good. Go, take more, right? But thank you, Sally, for sharing the doctor with us. So with no further ado, let me welcome to the podium the 2013 Virginia H. Foster Winning Spirit Award winner, Dr. Rick Myers. I'll hold it. I'll hold it.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for your kind comments, Rick. As you know, I started out my involvement with Special Olympics providing medical coverage. And the first time I saw the look on a kid's face when they had won a medal, be it first place or fifth place, I was hooked. And so I've given some stuff to Special Olympics, but I've gotten back a lot more. I've met so many wonderful people. You know, I'd like to recognize our staff and my fellow board members. And I think we've probably got the best Special Olympics organization in the country. Now, let me tell you a little story on Rick. You know, we got involved with this donation volunteer business, and neither one of us had really done a lot of fundraising before, but Chris Withers gave us some tips, and so we go to ask our first big donation from somebody. So Gil Miner from Owens and Minor, I invited him over for lunch at the office, and Rick gets there ahead of time, and he says, "What do you think we should ask him for?" I said, "I don't know, 5,000, 10,000. And so we have lunch with Gil, and we show him some compelling videos, and Rick starts to talk, and he says, "You know, we're starting this new program. We'd like you to be our first volunteer. Would you consider?" And Gil says, "I'll give you 20." So, you know, none of this would be possible without all the coaches and the volunteers. You know, I spend some time, I go to board meetings and I pester people for money, but the coaches and the volunteers are out there every day interacting with the athletes. And finally, I've met so many wonderful parents, people who have taken a difficult situation and turned it into a joyous one. So thank you very much.
If y'all see Gil Miner around, he wouldn't mind you asking him that story. That's a good story. Gil Miner's a wonderful man and has been a great supporter. He's a VMI graduate. Gil actually went up to the VMI games with me one year, Dan, you will remember, and actually addressed the cadets. So it's wonderful not only when you get people involved in this program like we got Gil involved, and now Owens and Minor is involved as a sponsor, and he's been to the VMI games. So it really becomes a total package of getting people involved. And again, as Rick said, yeah, we're asking people for financial contributions because without resources, you can't do much. But really what you want to do is you want to expose people to the magic, and that really makes it all possible. Before I do this last award, which is really the big award of the day, the Athlete of the Year award, it's a very special award today. It's a very special story. Last year's award winner is here. I want to ask him to come up and stand with me. It's kind of a tradition we started. I want to ask Matthew Doyle, who is from Stafford County. Matthew is a wonderful, wonderful athlete. He's the 2012 Special Olympic Athlete of the Year. And he won this award 1 year ago, and I'm going to ask Matthew to come up here and stand with me. Let me start off this final award by saying we had some phenomenal candidates this year. Come over here, Matt. You know, certainly none of them is more phenomenal to the guy that won the award last year or the one that won it before him, Ian Frazier, and some of the others that have been up on this stage. But the Athlete of the Year award this year goes to a young lady in Special Olympics, Virginia. She's been involved for 6 or 7 years. Her name is Erica Bookout. She's from up in the Christiansburg, Blacksburg area. She's a Global Messenger, recent class of Global Messengers, 2013. She's a track and field star, preparing for the National Games up in New Jersey. I asked Mom and Dad, Alan and Corrine, they're going to go to New Jersey. Oh yeah, we're going to New Jersey. So they're going to go to the USA Games this summer. As an athlete, she's primarily involved in track and field and bowling. As a Global Messenger, she has spoken to numerous groups, and this past fall was an instructor for the Global Messenger training class of 2015, which is the new class. I've shared the stage with her. She emceed the fall championships down in Virginia Beach a couple of years ago, and she does a terrific job. But now look, I had a chance to talk to Corrine today at length, and this is the Athlete of the Year award is not purely about sport, because Special Olympics, it might be all about sport, but not really. if you know what I mean, okay? So the young lady that I'm going to bring up here to give this award to today is not only a great athlete, global messenger, a great participant in the program, she is a college student at Radford University. I'm sorry, did y'all hear what I said? She is a college student at Radford University. This is not... See, this is where I fall short in this business, because even after 27 years of doing this, I still get this, I go, what? Now this person with intellectual disability, how can you be a college student? Must be a special kind of a remedial program at Radford. No. She is preparing to be a special education teacher and professional at Radford University. Taking regular classes, regular classroom, no quarter, okay? We're not showing any quarter or mercy here. She takes the regular classes. Corrine says she writes a paper, takes her about 4 times longer than it would take you. Might take you 2 or 3 hours, write that paper, takes Erica 12 hours. She gets some accommodations, it's only fair, okay? But that means she takes a test, they give her extended period of time. If it's a really, really narrative text on the test, she'll get a reader. But she has to take the test. She has to read the material. No tutors. I ask it. I got a lot of tutors. No tutors. It's pretty cool. She went to Christiansburg High School, graduated was in a National Honor Society. Christiansburg High School. Okay. I saw a thing recently. She has great passion for this thing to get this college education. Corrine told me, several years ago, she's kind of zipping along, not really doing all that much. And then she had some experiences that made her feel like, I really need to get better educated. So she did well at Christiansburg High School. She's at Radford University. She's going to be a special education professional one day. The testing is very tough. These tests they make teachers take now, the Praxis and these other teacher exams, they're very tough, okay? But I saw this thing said recently that passion is the intersection between skill and will. So I think Erica Bookout is a person that has a lot of will, okay? I think 2 people that really need to be probably congratulated on this whole deal are Corrine and Alan Bookout, her parents. They would say, oh yeah, Special Olympics is a big part of this. I don't know. This is an equation of a person that has a lot of will and 2 parents that are really making opportunities available and providing support, and people like B.J. Norris, who's the local program person up in Christiansburg, who's here today, who runs a great Special Olympic program that provides a lot of support. But I understand it's about the young lady and the parents and what they want to happen. We're a part of the equation. I'm proud to be whatever part we are, because this is really about Team Bookout. So I'm going to bring up here the 2013 Athlete of the Year and a global messenger from the class of 2013. But what I'm really going to bring up here is a Radford University student, Erica Bookout. Give her a hug when she comes up.
I'm okay.
There we go.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffries, for that kind introduction. I am honored to be here today receiving this award. Being selected as Special Olympics Virginia's Athlete of the Year for 2013 means a lot to me. I know there are many athletes across the state who work hard, training for competitions and inspiring their communities. This award means a lot to me because it celebrates the person that I have worked hard to become. I say this because when I set my mind on a goal, I achieve that goal. My mom likes to point out that I am like the turtle from The Turtle in the Hare. I am slow and steady, I never quit, and I always finish the race. I would not be the person I am today without the support of my mom and dad, my boyfriend Josh and his family, and Shannon, my mentor. I would also like to thank the Special Olympics Virginia staff for selecting me for this amazing award. Thank you all for supporting me and becoming a stronger athlete, a more confident leader, and a better person. As a Special Olympics Virginia Global Messenger, I would like to take a few minutes to tell you about how Special Olympics has influenced my life. I first became involved in Special Olympics 6 years ago as a high school student. Since then, I have had opportunities to compete all over Virginia and North Carolina in bowling, skiing, and track and field. I am really excited to add New Jersey to the list of states in June. Special Olympics has also provided me with the chances to develop leadership, communication, and athletic skills, all while experiencing respect, inclusion, and unity. One important lesson I have learned through Special Olympics is to accept challenges and always keep working hard towards my goals. This lesson helped me most when making the decision to attend Radford University. I knew it would not be easy for me as a college student, but I have worked hard, set goals, and I am proud of what I have accomplished. I am proud to say that I am now in my junior year at Radford University, and I am looking forward to graduating so I can begin working in special education. Being selected as Special Olympics Virginia's Athlete of the Year for 2013 is one of my biggest accomplishments. Thank you again for selecting me for this amazing award.
Let me take that. You take that. Just stand here so we can see you right there. Okay, that's good. How about that? Pretty cool. You know, Corrine was telling me that, you know, the testing is very hard. She had to take college boards and didn't do very well. The college board scores weren't good enough. Radford University said, the board scores aren't good enough to come. And so she had to take ACTs, which is a different type of testing, not necessarily any easier, just a different type of test. And they said, you got to get 16 and a half, is that what they said? Yeah, 16 and a half to go. And they got a call from the president's office, University of Radford. And he said, if she can make the score, you send all your stuff straight to me. I'll make sure that we take her. She scored 17. Good stuff. That's really a great story, Eric. You know, it's you're Athlete of the Year, but you're a Person of the Year, too. I think that's fantastic. You won't see much better than that in this program. And again, think about it now. Special Olympics is in there. A lot of opportunities for self-esteem, confidence building. Girl Scouts is in there, Gold Award winner in the Girl Scouts. That's in there. Christiansburg High School is in there with inclusive programming, with inclusive education at Christiansburg High School. That's huge. It's huge. Because it's got to be meaningful, see. It's huge. And then you go to Radford, and you're a student like everybody else. That's pretty good. Good stuff. So, you know what? That concludes our award celebration. I don't think it's hard to improve on that. Want to thank everybody for being here today. Want to congratulate all of our award recipients. I would ask all the award recipients to come kind of up here after we finish up, so that we can do some photos of you with your awards. I also want to make one announcement for Anita Dean. All the Torch Run volunteers from Region 4, if right over here after the awards lunch you will meet Anita for an announcement, the Torch Run Region 4 volunteers. That'll be great. It's wonderful to have all of these great award winners and to have the great Farm Bureau folks sponsor them. Again, Darlene, thank you, and all the folks at Farm Bureau for what you do. Let's give Farm Bureau and our award winners one last good round of applause. If you listen to the radio, you hear the announcements. Farm Bureau's tagline is "Get the Membership Advantage." One of the advantages we have at Special Olympics is that periodically we have the opportunity to see the joy that our athletes experience, to see their life experiences, and we get to do that with our fans, and we get to do that with great people like our Farm Bureau insurance folks who have made this all possible today. I want to thank you all for being here, for helping us transform lives together through the joy of sport every day. I want you to know you're part of our effort to build a bigger, better, more respectful, more inclusive, more unified community where everybody, whether you're Rick Myers or whether you're Erica Bookout, you walk not as one among us, but you walk as one of us. We appreciate you all being here. You've come from all over the state. Thank you for being here. Drive safe on the way home. God bless all of you. Thank you.